All right, so my question involves the sexual assault laws in Mississippi.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm a college student, and there was a sexual assault case that happened on my college campus recently. And what happened is on campus, a student was asleep, and another student took that opportunity to sexually assault her. Yeah. And so we went to the authorities, but because there are certain guidelines that constitute as sexual assault in Mississippi, it didn't seem like it fell under that. And so we were given two alternatives, and so I wanted to call you about those alternatives.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, go ahead.
So, yeah, okay. So we were told that she could go under and just say simple assault. And then the fact that she was sleeping during the incident made it to where you could argue that it happened while she was incapacitated, which would make it a felony. And so I was wondering what you thought.
Well, Cassie, yeah, there's a lot to chew on there.
Yeah.
A couple things, Cassie.
This is disturbing, Matt. I mean,
no,
just right off
it
the bat.
is. And, I've got, my oldest is in college, and
Sure.
she's a young lady, and we all worry about these things.
Yep.
It's horrible. First of all, these decisions are kind of made by the grand jury. So it's interesting. I assume you're talking to some type of prosecutor, obviously in a DA's office, perhaps the Attorney General's office, and ultimately they don't make those decisions about what proceeds forward. Ultimately, those cases are presented to a grand jury. We've heard about those things. Those aren't juries that decide cases. Those are juries. They're the groups of people that sit for a long period of time, and they get presented a number of criminal cases.
Several.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's hundreds, and they can do a true bill or no true bill. True bill means the case it goes forward. All right, it's a case that actually, the prosecutor takes up and they proceed forward, puts on the judge's docket, people are indicted, things like that. Or what's called no true bill, all right, which basically says the grand jury is not proceeding forward. That doesn't mean the case goes away. It doesn't mean there's not a case. It just means, one, prosecution has to kind of get more evidence, kind of clean up what they have, or perhaps a different type of charge. And so my hope is that the
prosecutor,
the prosecutor, they have a kind of a sexual assault division, things like that, because that's a very nuanced question. You have a lot of aspects to it, and ultimately it's what they present to the grand jury. It's not the prosecutor's decision. Ultimately, they present that to the grand jury, which is just made up of ordinary citizens, right? And then they kind of make those decisions. So I'm a little surprised on kind of some of the stuff you're kind of telling me, because prosecutors, they are experts in criminal law. They kind of know their business. Ultimately, they just present, and the grand jury kind of decides up or down.
Cassidy, are you still with us? You still there?
Yes.
Hey, who offered you? Who went over these two different options with you and your friend?
Okay. So
no names, of course.
Yeah, of course. So we met with our local law enforcement. We met with a victim's advocate, and we were advised to go forward with it being simple assault. And it wasn't until we started to go forward into that process that we learned that we could go another way.
Go another way.
Okay, that's another thing. Okay, you brought up another interesting point. There's something called lesser included offense. Okay, sometimes when you have a set of facts, it can be, several different things depending upon how the evidence kind of, murder versus manslaughter. You've probably heard those kind of things.
Right.
Involuntary, a cold-blooded, deliberate killing versus a negligent homicide. Things like, why did I touch you?
Why did you touch
I don't
me?
know, Kenny. I know.
6 foot rule.
Yeah.
6 foot rule.
Shush, stop it. So sometimes, so it is really, so prosecutors usually, they take, obviously they take the best facts,
right,
the most aggressive set of facts for the most egregious crime, and then, that's what they try to indict under. But sometimes the jury can say, well, you didn't prove, intent, or, somebody was passed out, things like that. But it's called a lesser included offense. So that is kind of sounds like what she's talking about there.
Yeah. Matt, what is, do they need to get a lawyer on this?
She needs a consult. Listen, this is a public forum, and this is very sensitive stuff. And it sounds like I'm already calling Paige on Monday. I don't mind calling you on Monday and kind of talking about this with some more detail. It will be, of course, covered by the attorney-client privilege, so it would be confidential, private information. But it sounds like we can kind of. I think I can get you where you need to go. Meaning we can present
there's a little meat on the bone.
Yeah,
here. It's a lot for TV.
Case, that you want to present, but it's a little. you know, a lot to talk about on such a public forum for sure.
Cassidy, thank you for the call
Yeah,
tonight.
thank
So
you.
sorry about your close friend here. It's nice to know that she has got a good friend with her
And-
through
and
this
good to
process.
her that she would call, you know,
Yes.
and just kind of make this public, because you know a lot of these things go unreported.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, the victims, you know, they shouldn't be, but they're ashamed. They feel, you know, they feel responsible for this, and they don't. But it sounds like she's got a good friend helping her out. So
I like Cassidy already.
I do too.
I do too.